this is an interesting topic to me. It's the sort of the juxtaposition of business and culture. And I was thinking about things to say, and I'm just going to sort of read through the list here and then answer real quickly what popped in my head first. That's what I was doing. But before that, I was thinking about something funnier to say. My first idea was, I have this burn on my hand, and everybody keeps asking me what happened. I was going to say, went to a council meeting, I got out lucky. But I was reading an article like 10 years ago, and one of our council members are here. I was reading an article about 10 years ago, and my mom says, my son is a necessary evil, the corporate Indian. Thanks, Mom. But, and I know what she meant, though, right? She meant it sort of as a compliment, I think. She's kind of a hardcore. She had a stroke. She doesn't get around much anymore. But someone asked me how she was doing lately, and I said, she's gotten really mouthy lately, so I think she's doing better. And I think that's part of what we all face when we're running these tribal corporations. There was another, we had a battle maybe 15 years ago, and Kansas was pushing around the Kansas tribes about gas, and we started selling them gas, and they arrested our driver, and then issued an arrest warrant for me. We won in their Supreme Court unanimously a few years later, but they didn't say sorry, but it was an arrest warrant. And it was on the front page of the paper in our state, the largest paper. And I was thinking, my parents are going to see that. And my dad is not Indian, and my mom is hardcore. And so I call him up, and this is the conversation. My dad's like, what are you going to do? This is terrible, blah, blah, blah. He goes, your mom wants to talk to you. She goes, finally, my corporate Indian son has done something worthy of going to jail for Indian people. I said, well, let's not jump the gun yet, just on jail. But it sort of gives you sort of the world that we live in. I'm going to just go through this and just tell you, since this is the topic, I'll just read you a couple of questions and tell you what I think, and I think it might be a pretty good approach. What role should businesses owned and operated by the nation play in its overarching effort to build a sustainable economy? What role should we play? And I was just sitting down here. These are sort of stream of consciousness answers, but it's pretty simple. We lack capital, both real and human capital. And what Ho Chung Inc. has done is we've been able to sort of consolidate capital and have the money to make stuff happen, but we've also been able to get brain power together in one place. When we started, we had 9 college graduates in our town, and then we had something like 15 or 16, 15 years ago. We started 21 years ago. Now we have 89, right? And a whole lot of those work for us. And so the combination of brain power and the confidence that comes with success, along with actual capital, really gives us some power. I said in our annual report this year that we're limited by our imagination and hard work now that we've got. So it allows big things to happen, and I think that's probably the most important role. What criteria should we use to determine what kind of businesses that the nation should develop and for what larger purposes? I think they want us to make money, but our mission is jobs and opportunity, and we take those equally serious. Everything we've done in the past has always been driven by advantages, a tax advantage, a regulatory advantage. Those are kind of like always causing me trouble, it caused me to lose sleep at night. Our cigarette business, everyone's always mad at us about that. Not the Indians are the customers, but the state and Marlboro. They seem to be mad at us. But I just had a conversation with the Attorney General. I said, they got to you, didn't they? Because he was fine the first meeting, but the second meeting he was mean. And when you get big enough in a state, you can say stuff like that to the AG, and nothing bad happens to you, I hope. But we'll see. But those businesses aren't a lot to, they're good and they're important, but what's happened to us lately is we're shifting into things that aren't driven so much by the technical advantages. Like, we don't do gaming. We do about $270 million a year non-gaming activity in a little tribe in the middle of Nebraska, so it's a lot. And but the gaming, the gas, the cigarettes, even government contracting to some extent are all advantage driven, and we have maximized that to a T. But as we develop capital, I say internally, how you act when you're rich is different than how you act when you're poor. And we are putting money into things that use advantages in a different way. We're doing lots of real estate development lately, and what's crazy about it is we're building this whole development, and I told the tribe, I said, here's what's crazy is we don't have to pay taxes. We actually have to pay taxes in the town we're building on the reservation, but in the community we're building off the reservation, the city, they're giving us all the tax money back as incentives for development. I said, it's just getting weird out here. It's come full circle. I didn't know about this, but. We're leaving these sort of controversial businesses and slipping down this path of just normal, regular business activity. And so that's what's driving us. It's about return on investment. There's a question later about profitability, and I think it's better just to answer it now. Off-reservation, we're super, super aggressive. We want to maximize efficiency. We want to maximize profitability. On reservation, it's a totally different animal. What we want to do is maximize impact without turning it into a welfare state. And so we look at things like return on investment slightly differently. The tribe allows us to make investments or lets us retain some of our dividends sometimes to do good deeds, we call them, and to make the community better, build elder housing, we're just building a project for dorms for students right now. Whatever it takes to sort of impact our community. We're here to talk about tomorrow. We'll give a little presentation on the town we're building called the Ho-Chunk Village. We're going to win some level of award from Harvard. We'll find out tomorrow in front of everybody. It's going to be very disappointing if we don't win. But
you've already won.
I was hoping for a private ceremony. But anyway, we think totally different on reservation. I call it job security because, to be honest, my tribal members, they don't care one bit if we're kicking butt in some foreign country and making a lot of money. They want to know is, do I have a house? Does someone in my family have a job? If I go to college, is there an opportunity? Right? We made $10.9 million, and someone brought that up in a meeting last year. And if I just said 50,000 or $1 million or 5 or 50, it would have made no difference to that person whatsoever, right? All they cared about is my life better? And so there's an element to what we do that isn't about economics or business at all. It's about building homes. It's about building a community. It's about making it beautiful. It's about pride. It's about all those kinds of things. One of the other questions here is, how do you ensure culture and core values are reflected and enacted in ways we do business? We used to sweat that problem. We do not sweat it anymore. We decided to self-certify. Our company is owned by a tribe, 100%. Our shareholders are the tribal members. They're voted on by the council. Our board is 100% tribal. Our management team is, all of our executives until recently were all native. And so we decided that we wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't appropriate. And so we used to spend a lot of time thinking about how to be. There's no book on being a tribal economic entity and a culturally efficient one, too. And so we just decided to do what we felt was right, don't do it if it felt bad, and do as many good things as possible for the community. We have a rule, one thing per year, at least big, in our community to make an impact. And whether it's housing or infrastructure or something for the community or education oriented, that's what we do. And we've been doing it for 21 years, and it's added up to quite a bit. The last question is, how can we create a synergy between culture? Who's writing these? Ian? How can we create a synergy between cultural considerations, social needs, and business profitability that is compatible of advancing and sustaining our overall economy building effort? That's I have trouble understanding it, much less answering it. But in a nutshell, it's pretty simple from our standpoint. We approach things on a real micro, and a macro level. On a micro level, it's about one person getting a job, one person getting educated, and then impacting that family, right? And then impacting their children. In a place where we live, we have 1,500 people in our town, 5,000 members. One good job, one good opportunity has an impact in our community, right? If somebody in that family is successful, then they can help the others and they can be an example. It's pretty simple. It gets carried away sometimes. I joked that my phone number is 911 in my family. But I think that that's the way you approach it. We spend a lot of money on that sort of thing, making one person better. And they pop out the other end of our system, whether it's school, sort of scholarships and internships and job opportunities. And then they get home, their kids get educated. I've seen enough of this going on for a long time, and their family as a whole prospers. It's about one person. That's on the micro level. On a macro level, we've done something in Winnebago very unique. You know, most of outside society is filled with institutions, whether it's companies or whether it's governments or nonprofits or colleges. Most reservations have one, maybe two, right? They have the drive, they may have a casino, they may have a college. You know, what we've done in Winnebago was sort of accidentally, we formed lots of companies like Ho-Chunk Inc. They're just not as well known or as big. We have a gaming company, we have a nonprofit, we have a college, we have this housing entity. We just formed a land company whose sole purpose is to Pac-Man the reservation back, right? Very controversial for some reason. But, and what those institutions have done is they've allowed our economy and our tribe to grow in a culturally appropriate way, for sure, because they're the same as us. But they've taken a lot of sort of control out of our political body, which is elected and a little bit unstable and has varying skill sets. So what we've done is we've institutionalized learning, we've institutionalized the gaming, we've institutionalized the corporate activity, and it's allowed us to emulate the outside economy. Our nonprofit entity serves as sort of a conduit between them all and helps them function together, gets grant money, it does a few things to make things happen together. This dorm project is for the college, but our nonprofit is the one managing it, Ho-Chunk's driving it, we're building it and supplying all the, you know, our housing company is doing it. And so they're all tied together. And so there's no top-down, there isn't a lot of top-down from the council to the tribe. What's happening is each of these institutions has a goal, and they're bubbling up, and the tribe is giving them capital resources and support. And so in our community, we've been able to sort of create a sort of controlled chaos that allows sort of organic development to evolve. And so I think that and since they're all just like us, tribal entities, there's a cultural element to everything we do, and I think that's been very successful. And I'll stop there.
Thank you.
Thanks.